basically the image of a true Vermonter. He was stubborn, he was independent, and he worked on a farm. So a lot of these things are, these two are for sugaring.
Hand tapper,
Drill it in, and then you end up producing maple syrup. These were similar to what we saw in his cellar, how he kept things cold without electricity. He stored things in his cellar, so he stored them in bottles like these.
and he actually had almost the exact can in his house. He had several of these, which was really cool.
So where'd you find that one?
Our history teacher had this.
And then it gets newer, and then this is closer to today. And I focused on 3 families. I focused on the Langdon family, which includes James R. Langdon, who built Langdon Block in Montpelier. And he built Langdon Block while he was living at 140 Main Street. And then I did the Bailey family, and Charles W. Bailey. He did a lot less when he was in the house because he died shortly. He got his head smushed between 2 train cars, and so he wasn't alive for very long and owning the house. But his family, his widow Olive, and their 3 children continue to live in the house and be present in Montpelier in the way that people who have money and means can be. His daughter, before she died, donated a bunch of land, including what's now Hubbard Park, to the state. I think it might have been sold before it became Hubbard Park, but it was a part of that parcel. And then I focused on the Wood family, which is over here, because they were living in the house when there was a big renovation. The original house looks like this, and the new house looks like this, with a few other bump outs on the other side. So here and here. These are the Sanborn fire maps. This is 1909, so the footprint of the house is pretty rectangular, pretty standard. And then in 1915, it's not that at all. It has all of these interesting details. Other than that, we don't know when it was, but we know it was while the Woods were living here. And so their whole section is over here. Marshall Wood he worked for the Lane Manufacturing Company, which still has buildings there. Next to the river, they're kind of behind Birch Grove Baking on the other side of the river as like the meadows in Montpelier. I'm not sure how familiar, this is a helpful map. They're kind of over here. And so he worked for them. He eventually became vice president of that company, but left on kind of bad terms. There was all sorts of law ordeals.
It's what is known as a floating bridge. So when it was originally built, it wasn't actually like connected to the ground in the lake. It was actually floating, so separate pieces floating on the bridge, and thus it had a little bit of a wobble to it. And a horse actually fell off the bridge and died. So the owner of the horse sued the town, and they decided to take it down and reconstruct a permanent bridge that had supports in the water that wasn't floating. The boat, you may be wondering what the story of the boat is. There were 2 Irish... There's a brochure if you want to look at it too.
Yeah, there's a brochure if you want.
And there's a headset virtual tour.
And this model right here, if we had like finished everything by the deadline, this was the model we were gonna bring here last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 2 buildings, the buildings themselves aren't connected, but the land is. See, the original owner, the land that this sits on, his name was Amos Bird. He was one of the original settlers of Castleton. He sold the land to Nehemiah Hoyt in 1769, and Hoyt also owned the land that the Hope House sits on, and he sold it himself to James Hope, who built the house. There was another owner of the land the cobbler shop sits on before it was built. His name was Zach Remington, and he got the land in 1774.
Might impact your careers?
I think this kind of got me interested into like architecture, like historical stuff like that.
So you're looking a little bit and see what kind of careers you could use this in? What'd you find so far?
I'm thinking about doing like architecture or like civil engineering, stuff like that.
Have you looked at any schools yet?
Yeah, Vermont Tech is cool. It's a bit smaller than I want, but I went to Amherst College, and they have a good program. That one's a bit big.
Almost 100 cows, and then they sold them off to other farms, and now they just grow the crops and sell paper.
And they use their barn for weddings and nice parties and stuff now?
Yeah, events like that. They also hold storage. Yeah. There.
And what'd you say?
Yeah, kind of like what she said. Like they keep
It burned down, and the one they have now is just a complete replica.
What did you use to model? Did you all model it, or did you all play different parts?
I designed this house. Yeah.
You did what?
I designed this one.
Tell me more about how you did that.
I used SketchUp and I just used the dimension. We didn't have the exact dimensions, so I kind of had to estimate about the size of everything. But we knew the perimeter, so I went off of that and used my idea of like scale and stuff for the windows and roof.
How long have you been doing SketchUp?
I started a while ago. I used it when I was younger with my dad to just like design like random rooms and stuff. So I think I had more of like I've used it before, so this big, and it was really fun and interesting to work on it. So might look into that in the future.
What kind of career?
Well, we went to the house and we took measurements, and we went back to our school and we measured the whole house, and we got some of it done, and then
intro to mechatronics freshman year, and Converse approached us and was like, hey, you should do this program, and so we did. We were like, yeah.
Good to collaborate with other people from other schools, and it's just a great opportunity.
Yeah. What school are you guys from?
We're from St. Albans City School, and also, so at the beginning of this project, neither of us knew anything about SketchUp, and the teachers didn't really either. But what's it called? The teacher?
Mr. Galley.
Yeah, Mr. Galley knows a lot about it, so it's nice to learn something new.
So you're from City School. Where are you from?
We're both from City School, and we're both from Town School.
You're both from which school?
St. Albans Town.
And tell me what it was like working with people from a different school.
It was hard, but I think it was really fun, and I think it was worth it.
Yeah, I think it was a little hard because we had to work on the presentation together by different schools, not knowing what they liked, so we had to either put it on. If they didn't like it, they would change it. And then we worked on the poster board.
Was the main reason why I picked this one. It has this arch here, which is very cool, and I thought also had cornices, which you can't see super well, but there's a little bit there, and also the belfry, which was one of the main reasons I picked it, because I thought it was pretty cool to model.